I hope you guys are all doing well. We are working on more algorithms today. Okay, so yeah, let's go ahead and do some more algorithms. So we're going to start off with level 8 as we typically do. Then we'll ramp up as we go. I love doing Code Wars, so if anybody is new into algorithms, Code Wars is such a great way to go. It helps me learn the syntax better, and also just helps me learn the language better itself as well. So this has been very helpful for me as I transition over from JavaScript to Python. So yeah, okay. Let's go ahead and do this level 8 Caillou. So level 8 is the easiest one. Going up, as you keep going up, it gets a little harder. So let's go ahead and see. Okay, so the Starship Enterprise has run into some problem when creating a program to greet everyone as they come aboard. It is your job to fix the code and get the program working again. So our example output, hello Mr. Spock. So we receive a name, but then we only get a hello. So the situation here, so we receive a string of a name, and then we want to say hello, their name. And what you can do is you can do an F string. F string name. Hello F string. So we're going to say return. And I know that with Python they care about indentation, so we want to make sure we do indentation well. And so we're going to say return f hello name. So this will work. Hello Mr. Spock. Oh, I forgot a comma. And this should work. Perfect. Where is my algorithms? So yeah, the reason why I do that, I take it from the code here into my IDE is so that I can push the code up to GitHub. If anybody knows any other way to do it that can sync it together, feel free to let me know. I love to be able to know that. Okay, so we did 8. Let's go ahead and do a 7. Okay, let's go ahead and do the shortest word. Okay. So you are given a string of word, return the length of the shortest words. So your string will never be empty and you do not need to account for different data types. Okay, perfect. Okay, so the shortest word is 3. Okay, so let's go ahead and do this. Okay, so we receive a string of words. We need to return the integer of the smallest word. So say for instance we have X. Hi, my name is my. Then the smallest word we get should be 2, because as you can see, the smallest word here is a length of 2. So what we can do is we need to split the strings so that we can grab each separate word. Split the strings, iterate through each word, find the minimum, and then we're going to return the length of the min word. So let me go ahead, because when you equal s dot split, so oops, equals s dot split. So when you split on a string, it will return a list. Let me go ahead and print that out. Yep, perfect. So it will return a list, and then we're gonna say, I know that you can use the min function, so let's say return len min of r. Interesting. Interesting. How? Okay, so let's see what min of r is. So min is a function that you can use in Python that will tell you the smallest amount. I want to go ahead and comment this out and try to see what min of r is bringing to us. Okay, so min of r is looking at just the first word. That's what it looks like, and we definitely don't want it to look at the first word. We want it to look at all of the words in the array. So let's go ahead and iterate through. Right now we'll say min word is equal to 0 for word in r if length of min word. We wouldn't initialize it to 0, because if you're initializing it to 0, then when you initialize a min word to 0, you are saying, since we're finding the minimum, it wouldn't make sense because 0 is as small as it can get. So here, what we need to say is we want to make it bigger. So we're going to say that you are equal to infinity. And then if you are 5, then you get replaced with 5 instead of saying that it's 0. So hopefully that makes sense. Alright, float infinity. Okay, so if length of min word is less, if length of word is less than min word, then min word, you are equal to whatever the length of the word that you currently see. Afterwards, let's go ahead and return the min word. Perfect. Okay, I almost think we can I map through it? Doing this, time will be O of n, space-wise is O of n, because when we split out that string into a list, that will create a list in memory. So, but I'm trying to think if there's a way to optimize this. I feel like you could optimize it already. Min word equals float infinity. Could you do min word? I want to see return min word of min. I wonder. Let's go ahead and do that. No. Okay, so you could say min of that list comprehension. Okay, so return min length of the char in char of s dot split. For char and I see. Okay. You're gonna get the length of the min of s dot split. I see. Because the way I was doing before is I was only adding in min of the word, min of r, key equals len. So we can go ahead and say the list comprehension of it. So this min is going to take the len of char for char and s dot split. I'm always trying to make sure that I can do it in a Pythonic way. Can add, get commit dash m, add it and split. Perfect. Perfect. Okay, so let's do a 6. Typically with all these code words, I try to make sure I should do a regex, but next time. Let's see. Find the odd integer. So just given an array of integers, we're gonna find the one that appears an odd number of times. So 7 should return 7 because it returns 1 time. Should return 2 because it occurs 2 times. Okay. Oops, did I delete? Yeah, I did. Okay, so we're gonna receive a list of integers. We're gonna return the numbers. Should return okay, so it should return the numbers that occurs a number of times. So if we have 3, 3, 1, 1, 1, and then 4 and 4, I would anticipate to see 3 and 1 return back because they appear an odd number of times, versus 4, it appears an even number of times. So then I wouldn't anticipate 4 to be returned. So then in my head, what I'm thinking right now, brute force, I am thinking brute force. Let's go ahead and keep track of the numbers. Keep track of the numbers seen in the dictionary. Increment the count of the key we have seen. And afterwards, let's iterate through the keys in dictionary and check their values. If odd, push in key to list, else we're just going, if odd, we're going to push it, else let's not push in even. We can just ignore it because it appears 5 times. Okay, so let's go ahead and create our dictionary first. Frequency dictionary, and we're gonna say that for let's do num. For num in sequence, if we're gonna say for num in sequence, the value of num is equal to dig.get. Either, if I see the num, I'm going to initialize it to a 0. Else, we're going to head and increment it to 1. As you can see, here's what our dictionary currently looks like. As you can see, we see 20 appears 2 times, 1 and 2. And then now we're going to iterate through the keys in the dictionary, and we're going to check the values. So for for num in dictionary, if dictionary of num mod 1, because to know if it's odd or even, if you mod it by 1, you can figure out if it's odd. If you mod it by 2, it's even. How about, let's do 2. If you mod it by 2 does not equal 0, then we're gonna go ahead, result equals, wait, does it return an integer or an array? Okay, it returns an integer. Okay, so we don't need that. Then if it does not, then we're gonna say return num. I think that's it. Um, I'm just trying to think, like, if there was no list, I think it just can return 0. If meaning that if not sequence, then we can return 0. Perfect. Oops. And git commit. Yeah, I'd love to know what other people wrote for this as well. Oh, I see. You can use a count method. I did not know that. Let's try it. So you're saying, instead of doing frequency counter, you can say that for num in sequence, if num dot count, or sorry, if sequence dot count num mod 2 does not equal 0, we're going to print num. X for, we're going to okay, so what this is doing is that it's going to print out another X, but we're grabbing the first value in that list, which you could, if sequence.count list.count Python, you can count the occurrences of, oh, I see, you can count the occurrences of a list using that. I see. Okay, so now that I've seen it, and one way that I want to secrete that or make that information sink into my mind is to go ahead and rewrite it. It's one thing to read it, but can you go ahead and write it out again? So we're going to iterate through the sequence, and we're going to check if the sequence.count of num does not mod 2 does not equal 0, we're going to return num. So we're saying that for, let's go ahead and look at each value in the list. Until we reach our first number. And we're going to say that, hey, let's go ahead and count all of the numbers in this list of sequence, called sequence. And then we're going to take that number mod, and we're going to take that total of all the count of that number mod 2 to see if it's odd. Then we're going to return the number. That is what it's doing. Doing this time-wise is still O of n because we need to iterate through each number in the list as well. Mine was O of 2 of n operation because I did one O of n loop here, another one O of n loop, but if you add the O of n plus O of n, it becomes 2n, but we do drop that 2 constant, so overall it becomes O of n operation. Awesome. Let's see. Let's do some LeetCode. LeetCode 75. Let me grab some water. Hopefully you guys are all staying hydrated. Did you know that you can actually do something and purchase things with the LeetCode coins? I didn't know that. I saw LeetCode wear a LeetCode sweater, or was it a hat, the other day, and I thought that was pretty cool. I didn't know you could buy stuff with it. Noted. So a goal will definitely be to Noted. A goal is definitely to be able to purchase like a sweater or something like that, because I've been grinding out lead code for a while, so yeah, that'd be great. Okay, let's go ahead and work with this. Okay, so you're given two strings, word 1 and word 2. We're going to merge the strings by adding letters in alternating order, starting with word 1. If a string is longer than the other, append the additional letters onto the end of the merged string. Okay, so we're going to receive two words of different lengths. We're going to return one big word, one word which alternates letters from two different strings. So if I have two different strings of hi and bye, then I would anticipate it to be H, B, I, Y, E. And as you can see, we started from the first value, and then we added the first value from the second one, alternating in between those two words, which gets us to this output. So let's see. Brute force. Let's go ahead, initialize an empty string, which will be our output. We're going to iterate through. From what I remember, we're going to iterate through the longest string. So the max of word 1, word 2, whichever one's the longest one. And we're going to start off with adding in char from word 1, adding in word char from word 2. Then afterwards, we're going to add in the rest of letters if there are no more from the other string. Return output. So here we'll say output string equals an empty string right now. We're going to say that for I in. Is it range? Yes, because we want it to go from 0. You can say max of word 1, word 2. And we're going to say the output string plus equal word 1 of I. And then we're going to say that this is going to grab the first character and it's going to add it in output plus string plus equal word 2 of I. Return the output string. String object cannot be interpreted as an integer. String output object cannot be. Oh, okay. Okay, so max of word 1, word 2. Max of word 1, word 2. I thought the max function could do that in Python with strings. Okay, so if you're looking at max char, finding the largest character in a string, that's not what we want. Actually, we don't want to find the largest string. Finding the no, not that either. Okay, so okay, I got it. The len of which will give me numbers. The length of. String index is out of range. Oh yeah, okay. Because the reason... I am curious. Print output string. Where does this go? The string index is out of range, so I wanted to go to the max of whichever one. So our first example here. Okay, so this is what I get. I get AP BQ, and all of a sudden I can't get to CR. I get AP BQ, and then CR. Start, stop. I think I need, okay, because I know that in the range function, when you do the start, it's inclusive. And then after the start, you have a stop. And the stop, you want it to go, it's exclusive. So we will add +1, +1. Okay, so we ABQEQCR. But it is still mad. Okay, so for I, output string plus equal word 1 of I. String index out of range. For I in range from 0 to... Is it because I didn't add a 0? I don't think that's the reason either. And then you go to I plus plus. Oh, plus equal 1. I always want to do plus plus. What? I plus equal 1. Range function. Start, stop, step. I wanted, okay, oh. I just wanted to go by 1, so we'll step it up by 1 each. Index error out of range. Typically when there's an index error out of range. Yeah, I love to. That sounds like it's going to be a dynamic programming problem. Distribute money to maximum children. Yeah, I love to try that next. Okay, but, okay, so I have an index error, string index out of range. Let's see, I'm trying to understand why there's a string index out of range. Typically when a string index is out of range is when that I is going out of bounds, meaning that the I has surpassed all of the characters. So I pointers goes right here. And I think that's because here, late word -1. Okay, no, it's not. I'd be curious to know what this printed out. Okay, so I still agree that it should be +1 because I don't think it should be -1. As you can see, APPQ, but then the other one +1, you get a CR. Hi Eddie, how are you? I hope you're doing well on this Saturday. I hope you've been reading for book club. Let's see. Accept all cookies. Sorry, there's so many pop-up here. Okay. So here's the code that is causing problems. Plus equals so far I. Could someone help me out? What's wrong? How to fix it? It looks like you indented so far equal new too much. Try this. New plus equal so far equals new too much. So far equals new too much. I don't think it's because of my indent. Print index I. If guess is equal to word, output plus equal word of I, and then we're gonna say output plus equal word of 2. I think like the reason why it's for I in range, I want to see 0. Index is out of range. So I'm saying, hey, you're gonna be here. So essentially this is what was doing the same thing as here. So this one was saying, hey, we're gonna create a new string and we're gonna say that I is for I in range. Is it because I didn't do I is equal to 0? In range, max length of word 1, or go all the way to the max of either this word 1's length or word 2's length, whichever one is the furthest one. If print PQ. Okay, so it doesn't print it anymore. Okay, so it's right here. Is it because... Okay, so... Print. I would still return output string at the far end right here. So I don't think it's my indentation of anything. So yeah, I don't think it's my indentation. For I in range of max of the length of word. Is it because I didn't tell it to? I'm trying to think about this problem, and then I think it's also because I'm not telling it. So if word 2 was longer than word 1, I wanted to understand that, hey, I grab everything of word 1, and everything that's left over word 2, just added the back in. Just to make sure it's not anything else. I think it's because 0, 1, 2, 3, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Its last index is 4. I think what I need to do, max word is equal to max length of word 1 or give me the length of word 2. Max word print max word so max word is 4. Okay, so in our example here, okay, so this is example 2. Okay, for some reason I was looking at example 1, but I think they're referring to example 2. Okay, so here in our example 2, since there's only A, B, P, Q, R, S, then yes, then we wanted to go all the way to P, Q, R, S. We wanted to go all the way to P, Q, R, S. Okay, so here I would probably do another if statement to check that, hey, if we reach the end of our minimum one, then we'll add in a check. If I want to say something to the line that, hey, if we reach the minimum word, then add everything from the max word to the end of the sentence. End of sentence. Output plus equal word 1. So add it, alternate, and then add everything else to the rest. So if would I have to keep track of min word then? I would have to keep track of word 2 if min word But what min word and max word is keeping track of is the outputs number, and it's not keeping track of a string. And I wanted to go ahead and keep track of a string. I would say for I in range of the max word, if min word then take everything. So if min word is done, then we're gonna say output plus equals string. Output string plus equal whatever's left in that letters of that string. Then we're gonna go ahead and return it. Hi, hello, welcome to the stream. We're having some fun trying to do some algorithms. Bit stuck here. Trying to throw in some words here on the screen because because it reached the index of, okay, so for I range a max word 1 has been breached. So that means if not min word, output plus equals max word. Else, please do. I would love that. Any helpful tips, guides, and stuff like that, that would be great. Because, okay, so the way I am solving this right now, I know I need to go ahead. So yeah, this is I don't think this is the right way to do it. So I'm just going to delete that. So I'm initializing this, our output string right now. And I'm going to go ahead and figure out which one is our min and our max string. because I wanted to go ahead and iterate through. I wanted to go ahead and iterate through all the. I wanted to iterate through the entire length of the longest string, but if I do that though, as you can see, my index is out of range, which definitely makes sense for this example because my word 1, I only have 2 letters versus word 2, there's 4 letters. So word 1 is already out of range. I can no longer go any further. And what I'm trying to say is that I understand I can't go any further in word 1. I want to add the rest of whatever letters are left in word 2 into it. And yeah, if we reach, so that's why I was thinking I need to keep track of the minimum word, then I want to add everything else from the max word to the rest of the sentence. I know there's an easier way to do this. I just gotta think it through a little longer. Feel free to give me any suggestions as well. Yeah. Yeah, because right now it is doing what I anticipated to. Print output string. Let me grab my charger. Okay. So multiple loops you say. I was thinking of doing like another check afterwards saying that it's like min word has been breached. But min word, the thing about it though is that it doesn't know whether it's word 1 or word 2 because all min word is keeping track of is an integer of the length. And multiple loops, are you thinking of a nested squared loop? I see. Okay. Let's see. Okay. Let me just comment that out for a little bit. You're right. Okay, so let me just bring that Okay, indentation matters. I gotta make sure my indentation is good. Okay, so you got me thinking there. Okay, could you use multiple loops? Okay. So what I would do is I would use a while loop. And could you use multiple loops? So when you're saying multiple loops, I was almost thinking of doing a nested squared loop or nested for loop. But I'm trying to understand if a nested for loop would make sense. But what does make sense in my head right now, what makes sense is saying that while okay, I need to do I is set to 0, J is set to 0. So, and when I say I and J are both set to 0, they are starting at the index of 0 of both strings. So I will take care of word 1 string. J will take care of word 2 string. So while I is still less than length of word 1 and J is less than length of word 2, we'll say output string plus equal word 1 of I, and then we have to alternate and we say plus equal word 2 of J. So that's what I'm thinking right now. So we're going to have their own separate pointers for their own separate words. But then but then one thing I'm thinking about is how will I and J take care of the okay, that's not good because it seems like I'm stuck in a loop. Oops, that is bad. Okay, so I and P. Okay, so while I is still less than the length of the word 1 and J is still less than the word 2's length, I want them to alternate. Then I'm going to do a check if I could I do another check in between saying that if there's still if I was thinking of doing another check. What do you think about doing another check? I was thinking of doing another check to say that if I is still less than word 1, then I'll put string plus equal everything else from the word 1. So say for instance we're in example 2, we already add A, B, P, Q, and you see how RS is left over from word 2. Could I just say, hey, just give me everything else from this word else? Output string plus equal word 2 of J. Would that work? Let's go ahead and rerun this. See what we get. No, it is still running in a bad way. APA, that is not what we want. So this is our first example 1. APA, AP, and then, oh, you know what it is? I never told it to increment as well. I plus equal 1, J plus equal 1. Okay, so while I is still less than J, then we're gonna alternate add each, and then we're gonna move the pointers as well. Okay, and then I wouldn't have okay, which example is this? Okay, so this is our first example. APB, and then B went again. Oh, okay, so hi, hello, welcome. We are figuring out this algorithm here. I hope you guys are big into algorithms. Oh no. Okay, unexpected indent. Interesting. That is interesting. That shouldn't be the case. I know how to indent forward, but I don't know how to dedent or go backward. Is it? Nope, it's not that one. We'll figure it out, but as of right now, I'll backspace. So, yeah. So feel free to chime in with any comments or suggestions you guys have. So, yeah. Okay. So what we're doing is we're gonna initialize an output string. Shift tab. Let me try that. Okay, so I know that if I want to go that way, I'm gonna tab, and now shift tab. Beautiful, thank you. Because I was like, that's a lot of work to do, to delete everything, go back. Thank you for that. Now I know. Okay, so yes, it is. Let's see. Okay, I think it's strange that this error occurred on word 2. Are these errors always? I feel like sometimes errors don't because you know how the error occurred in this line, but in my head sometimes when errors occur in that line, it's not specifically directly towards that line, and for this case I feel like that might not be the case. Output string plus equal word 2. So in this case that we're dealing with, we are dealing with example 1, and in example 1 we're doing A, B, A, and then we went to P, which is correct, then we went to B, which is correct, then we somehow added B again. Yeah, I'm just gonna walk through it. Hi, hello, C Films. Long time no talk. I'm doing well, thank you. I hope you've been well as well. Oh, I see. Okay. Is it because so the when you say that, I see that the reason why this occurred, I feel like the reason why this error occurred here is because you see on line 33 I specify I is less than length of the word one, because in I right here is specifically dealing with the word one, but then I didn't specify if about J, if I is less, because in my head I thought that if I could say else already knows that it's going to deal with J and that word length of word two, but I want to try. So basically what I'm trying to say here is that if busy is sometimes a good thing, so hopefully good busy you are. So yeah. Um what I'm trying to do here is when do you want your while loop to break? Oh, that's a good. I want my while loop to break when one of them. I want one of my. Excuse me. I want my while loop to break when one of them actually reaches the end of the string. So, say for instance, in example 2 right here, I want it to keep alternating and keep going until um, it reaches the end of one of the word. Then afterwards, then I want to tell it, hey, just add everything else. That's what I wanted to do. So then, in my mind, I am trying to do that here, saying that, hey, if you reach the end of a word already and there's still extra characters to add from the second word, I want you to go ahead and redo that. So basically from that, because in my while loop, I'll do all the alternating and keep going. Okay, so let's get here for lines 31, 32. Correct, yep. And then I wanted to keep alternating and it'll keep incrementing by one. And then my while loop will break when I reach the end of one word. What this part is doing is saying that, hey, if there's still extra characters in that string, let's go ahead and add all the rest of the characters. So here, A, B, in example 2, we alternate with my while loop right here. I'm expecting it to alternate already. So A and then P and then B and Q. So I know that A, B, word 1 has been reached. The I has reached the end of that character. So then we break out of our while loop. And then when we break out for a while loop, okay. Because you got me thinking, that's when I want to break out the while loop. So it makes sense to go ahead and unindent the part here. Yeah. And then, so now I'm just trying to say that, okay, so if there are any remaining characters from a string, go ahead and add in the rest of those characters. That is what I'm trying to do here. Print output string. Interesting. Okay. Sorry, I'm just trying to understand what's going on. Okay, so I printed out the output string. Wait a second. I was like, wait a second. Why is it null? But okay, there's a difference between print and return. Multiple loops. multiple loops. So, multiple loops, I don't think you're thinking, feel free to correct me if I'm wrong too. So, when you state multiple loops, you're not thinking of a nested for loop, right? Because in my mind, a nested for loop would not make sense for this, because a nested for loop, multiple loops. I'm trying to think about the multiple loops. Aren't doing 34 lines 34 and 36 are not doing what you think they're doing. Yes, correct. I do want to print the rest of the word too. Okay, so 34 and 36 are not doing what I think they're doing. Okay, you got me thinking. Okay, so this does all the alternation until it reaches the end of a string, and then so we wanted to go ahead and add in the rest of the characters. And if I want to go ahead and add in the rest of the characters, if I was almost thinking of doing like a for loop for the I was almost thinking of doing another for loop to iterate through the max strings and grab all of the characters from that max string. But then in this while loop it already grabs certain characters already. So how do I tell it what position it needs to start and grab the rest? Oh, yes, that's true. Hence why I need another. That is true. So right now, it's just grabbing a single character. That is true. So that's why I needed to keep going until the end of the string. That's why I need a for loop that will keep going until the end of the string. Okay. Okay, so I'm just trying to think. I think I would need a for loop. Because I don't think I would do a while loop. I would definitely do a for string. I do Python slicing. Okay, so Python slicing is saying it's similar to, in my mind, it's similar to like a range where there's a start, and start, end, and step for Python slicing. And start is inclusive, end is exclusive, and you want to tell it how much to increment or decrement by. So that's what I know about Python slicing. And okay, so Python slicing. So then what I would do is would I do a for loop and iterate through the longest string, or do I need to care anything about a max string? It seems like I don't even need to consider a max string right now, because it seems like I can just go ahead and go to can I use slicing? I can use slicing. My only concern is my only concern for slicing is wouldn't I have to take in a couple of parts or components into it? One, which string do I know I need to slice out of? Therefore, I need to look at the max string, because that tells me how many characters are left, because I know that the min word um, has been all fully incorporated and has been alternated. So then wouldn't I need to take into consideration the max string? And then wouldn't I also need to take into consideration the starting point? And here it's alternating. How do I know which character it stops at? I hope that makes sense, because if we added A, B, P, Q, and I know that I still have 2 left over from word 2, and wouldn't I need to go iterate through, well, because wouldn't I need to find the max string, which is PQRS, the max string right here, and then I need to slice out the part that I've already seen. So I need to find out that starting index of what's left over, correct? Is that what you guys are thinking too? Because with that stated, Python slicing. Then the length of word 1, print output string. Okay, so yeah, example 2 would be a great one. Case 2 would be a great one. So I know I have A, B, B, Q. So I just need the R, S. And to do the slicing portion, output string plus equal, output string plus equal, slicing because, okay, so I am thinking I need to keep track of which one is the longest string. So longest string is equal to max the length of word 1 or length of word 2, and then length of word 1 or word 2. But wouldn't this just return back to me only integers? So word 1 would return back 2, and then word 3 will return, word 2 would return 4. So 2 and 4, then we know that the longest string is 4, but that doesn't tell me if it's word 1 or word 2. So it seems, but if you slice a string beyond where it stops, you'll just get an empty string. So in your example, you're stating is that ABC, and you're going to start at the 100th position, and you're going to slice everything over. Since there's nothing to slice after the 100th index, even though there's only 3 letters, and so there's no such thing as a 100th index in that example, you'll just get an empty string. I'm just trying to understand, if you slice a string beyond where it stops, you'll just get an empty string. Okay, so wouldn't, okay, so this part alternates, then wouldn't, but if, okay, because I was almost going to say that in this example, in case 2 example, wouldn't J know where I am? Because J would know where I am, but the fact that I dedented, then wouldn't I lose track of where J is? Longest string is equal to the max of that. Yeah, I wouldn't do longest string because that max function will only return back to me in integer. So while I is less than length of word 1, j of length for 2, Python slicing strings. Line 26 and 27. So then in this example 2, well, I want to make it dynamic and output string plus, could I do, okay, so how do I make it dynamic to say that you can pull whatever from word 1 or word 2, whichever one is left over? Because in example 3, now we have word 1 that has 4. Then wouldn't I do an if check to make sure which one it's going over? If length of word 1, meaning that what I'm trying to say here is that there's still more to length of word 1 that we haven't, I hasn't reached the length of the word 1. Then I know I can go ahead and do output string plus equals this word 1, and we're gonna slice out I and go all the way till the end of the word. Oh, the minimum. Okay, so then I would use that to check if you go over. Remember, you'll get an empty string if you go over. Okay, just to make sure, remember you'll get an empty string if you go over. If so, because if I get an empty string, I just want to, it's not printing out an extra, it's not going to print out anything extra, right? Wouldn't it just print out, it wouldn't, because I just want to make sure it's not going to print out an extra space, an extra of anything. I guess we can test it too. We can do here, A, B, C, D, Q. Oh, I don't need an if. Okay. And so we can just return output string. Or output string plus equal word of 2 of I. Oh, I see. Okay. In my mind, I thought you needed if checks because you're gonna tell the computer to do this if there's still any extra characters. So I was still really stuck on that if. And now that I think about this, I'm so sorry about that. Like, it was in my mind. I think I was just really stuck in that if. Like, I really wanted to use an if to make sure to do an if check to make sure that if this is the case, then you can do this. I just for some reason didn't feel comfortable to go ahead and do the output string plus equal or that word 1 and add everything else in there. Yeah. It does. I did not know that. Okay. Good to know. Yeah. And the way I think about looking at this code, I always think about, is there a way to go ahead and optimize afterwards? And looking at the code that we have here right now, Let's see. Um, let's talk about time. Actually, no, you really. That's a good question, because yeah, no, you really don't, because you definitely need just I. But I wanna think this through a little bit more, because it did. Because in my mind, it makes sense to go ahead and use both I and J, because they're keeping track of different length of word characters. So in my mind, it makes sense to use I and J. And I'm trying to see and understand why only I would make sense thus far. I guess like the reason, okay, I love to know your thoughts too as well, because okay, so it seems like I will only need to use I and J pointers when I and J makes different moves. In this case, since we are alternating back and forth and we're making the same move for each of the words, therefore that's why I would only need the I pointer. That's what I'm uh, rationalizing it to. I'd love to know your thoughts as well. Yeah, but if I go ahead and take out. While J is not defined. Okay, oops, that's right. Okay. Yeah, okay, it still does work. Yeah, so in my mind, I'm thinking I and J is only needed when you're doing different incrementation. That's why you would need both. That's what I'm thinking about. Would creating an I in a J pointer in space, or creating space for I in J pointer, would that hurt space at all? Oh no! Probably could be my internet. I hope it's not my internet. So, yeah. Um, yeah, I need to do better at this, but I would love to talk about time and space complexity for our code as well. Okay, so as we can see here, we are doing a while loop, and then this is slicing. Underneath the hood for slicing, it will still be O of n. So you have an O of n and another O of n. But with the fact that we're dealing with two uneven length of words, and you might need different times, a different time complexity to handle that. So it's gonna be O of n plus m, because we might have to do different time complexity for uneven length of words. Feel free to let me know if that explanation makes sense and if that sounds reasonable to you as well. For time, that's my understanding of it. When you are dealing with two uneven length of words, the time complexity is going to be O of n plus m. Space wise, it will be O of n, because we are adding on to this output string of n amount of characters from both strings. Please let me know what you think about this time and space complexity. That's what my mind is thinking about right now. Oh, I see. In regards to this, since the output is a string, then it does matter. And did I state that correctly with O and? Let me know what your thoughts are as well. Yeah, I will go ahead and submit this. I want to go ahead and see how other people did, or how like this code matches up with theirs. Okay, so it's really, really far right. So that means there's a lot of room for optimization. So, hmm. Try to think of what's in my toolbox to help me out with this. Can I do a 2-pointer? I think that's why my mind went with I and J, because I was thinking of a 2-pointer pattern. Um, 2-pointer, a sliding window, frequency counter. Um, a fast and slow. Oh, I was gonna say, is it because I should have turned these strings into a list? But let me try to think of how I can use a string into a list. Oh, I see. Yeah, I think the other day someone was talking to me. They asked me about time and space complexity, and I was like, "You're right." So I do want to get better at that as I continue to progress through these algorithms. So yeah. Um, but since I see the runtime is at the far right, which not so good. I know that adding a character to a string is not good, and it's a linear option. Yes, I've heard that adding it to a list would be constant time because you're always pushing that string to the end of the list. So that's why I'm thinking another way to optimize this is to go ahead and use a list. But I have to brainstorm on how a list would work. Oh, I know. I've heard about that. That they hardly have to work on data structures and any leak code. Yes. Constant as O of one. Constant. Yes. The reason why I want to get really good at leak code is I do feel. Oh, I don't know about you yourself, but yeah, I really want to get good at leak code is because I noticed that a lot of the barriers to some of these applications required a leak code, a hacker rank, some sorts of that kind of line. You have to go ahead and pass those assessment first before you can progress further in the technical interviews. So I want to get better at my leak code so that I can be able to pass that, so I can get to the next behaviorals, all of the yeah next in line like that, because I have found that these online assessments have been a barrier for me before I can even get to an HR, or before I even get to the behavioral with the hiring manager. So I really want to get better at these just to give myself that opportunity as well. Yeah, I know. I've heard people don't really invert binary trees on their first day at work or the first year at work, but some things I have known when applying for applications is a lot of them have had a lot of online assessments. So, oh yes, they are immutable in Python. Strings are. Yes, so doing a list. Okay, so yeah, you got me thinking. Okay, so, hmm. Okay, so let's see. Okay, so in that case, I would have to. Okay, so I'm gonna initialize an empty list. And then I am thinking, do I need to break out word 1 and word 2 into a list? Oh, it is. Is a big red flag in regards to I see. Maybe I'm not applying to the right places. That's why I've been getting all these lead code assessment. Maybe that's why. Yes. Yes, so yeah, but what I've noticed right now a lot too was like leak code. Say for instance, like meeting intervals and all that stuff that I've seen a couple of those. So I'm trying to do a little bit better about intervals. So hopefully we'll get to do more intervals as we keep going on. Oh, please tell us more. How did you find that interview more fun? Were the people more fun or was the interview process itself more fun? Yes. Okay, so thinking about a list method way. Initialize an empty list, and then we're going to go ahead and iterate through. I'm trying to think, should I split out word 1 and word 2? But I think it should be okay to. I am going to say I need to split out word 1 and word 2. In doing that, I anticipate to see A, B, C, because doing the split method in Python, it will give me a list back of each individual characters. Afterwards, then I should be able. Hopefully it was a good leak code problem. Are you able to share what the leak code they gave you? Totally understand if you can as well. So, but yeah, I'd love to know more. Like, how like do one round of technical interview? How did it go for you? Okay, so I anticipate to split out the characters for word 1, word 2, and then we'll add each individual string into the list. And then as always, we're gonna alternate. We still do a while loop. While ready create. Yeah, I love to know what like some of your suggestions, pointers you guys might have for people who are looking for the entry level roles in the software engineering world. What do you think, or what do you wish more people would have more skills on? Oh, yes, the valid parentheses, and then you have to. Did you solve it with a list or did you solve it with a stack? Yes, yeah, I'm aware of that parenthesis question. So that's so interesting. Once upon a time, I had a lead code interview question with stocks. If you guys are familiar with that, the stock question. So, yeah, is less than length of word 1 and the length of word 2. We're gonna go ahead and chars alternate adding chars to the empty list. Aww, that is so sweet that you're really transparent with them. I hope they took it well for you. Oh, that's good to hear. Okay, noted. Yes, with hobby projects. Oh, I see. By the way, I'm kind of curious. Do you ever stop and look at like LinkedIn posts when people are showing their projects that they're working on? Um, do you ever look at LinkedIn? Do you look at X? I was curious, like, where do you like to watch people like work on projects? Well, I guess on Twitch itself too, because you're here on Twitch. Do you like watching it here on Twitch as well? Yes, on my off, I guess you could say my off time. I am a software engineer. I love building projects, been doing some software development, been working on building projects, learning Python for leak code purposes. Yeah, and I've been working on some side projects as well. One of the side projects that I'm currently working on is automating posting on X and posting on Blue Sky. So I've been working on that. I'm just trying to automate my life and make sure I get that done. Oh, I see. Okay, noted. So I'm gonna start building more on Twitch. Well, I build more for LinkedIn, X, and Blue Sky. So, oh, I see. I have to start building more on Twitch then. Yeah, I've seen a lot of people post on Twitter. Sorry, sometimes I call it X now too. Trying to get used to calling it X. But yeah, I've seen a lot of people post on Twitter as well. Right? Isn't this Twitch? That's what we're streaming on? Twitch? Yeah. LinkedIn. Oh, I'm sorry to hear about that for LinkedIn. I think people have always told me to build and keep posting on LinkedIn. So I do post a lot on LinkedIn. So, but I never know where the right place is. So I just do my best and try to post in multiple places. Alternate adding a little chars to the empty list, and then we'll just have to slice. I think slicing would work. And add to a pen. Slice the string. Oh, I see. Yeah, you must. That's the word I hear around here. That after you've been in the workforce a little bit, you get bombarded with a lot of emails from LinkedIn. So. Oh, I see. Okay, noted. On Twitch, I'm gonna start building more. I've been doing a lot of algorithms, but I definitely have to start building more. Yeah. Yeah, because I really want to keep building one of my projects that I'm working on right now. I'm trying to automate posting for, yeah, like I said, social media, and because I'm not always available to be able to pull up the app and write a status every hour or even like just for the whole day, because I'm busy with other things, a different 9 to 5, and just yeah. So yeah, I'm looking to automate that, and I'll definitely have to keep building more on Twitch, and so hopefully you guys will stay around, and hopefully you guys are building too. I'd love to stop by sometimes to see what you guys are building and what you guys are up to as well. Yeah, lots of great people who build here on Twitch, by the way. Very motivating space. I like that. So yeah. Uh, yes. So talking about lists, okay, so we're gonna go ahead and create this empty list. We're split out the words. So I expect to see an array, or sorry, a list of characters, and then we're gonna create this I pointer. And then while the I is still less than the length of the word and the length of the word. So this process is still going to be similar to what we did above, except what we're going to do differently is we're going to go ahead and add except what we're going to do differently is we're going to use a list instead of a string from our previous code above. Then we're going to just return the list. Join back together with strings. Okay. Hi, hello, welcome to the chat. We are solving this merge strings alternately with list right now, and we're gonna say list word one. I heard it's not good to use list word one is equal to word one dot split, and we're gonna say list word two. Please feel free to let me know if I'm naming these variables correct. I try to make it mnemonic, so meaning that it's something that you know right away when reading the variables what it's pointing to or specifying. So yeah. And then we're gonna go ahead. Let me just print out my list because I want to make sure they are doing what they state they are, that they should be lists. I was like, wait, why did that pass? Okay, I still have my previous code from above. Okay, okay, now I'm gonna run it. Oh. Darn. Okay, so because I thought split would work. Python is that split. Python. Okay, yeah, because noted. Noted. Because maybe I'm still kind of stuck. Okay. Noted, because I think I was referring to something back in JavaScript. Because in JavaScript you can use dot split and you can specify that delimiter. Perfect, yes, this is what I'm looking for. I'm looking out for separate characters like this. And then we're gonna, afterwards, we are going to do our I pointer while I is still less than length of this word one. And I is still less than length of this word 2. We're gonna say that result dot append list word of I. So we're gonna start with the first character from the first string. The result dot append list word. I didn't add the 1. That is my fault. Okay. Okay. No, I went out of bounds there. Okay, perfect. And then I plus, oops. Then we also have to increment our pointer as well. Afterwards, what we're going to do is we're going to say that result dot append. Okay, so result dot append. Append is going to go ahead and push back that character to the end. It should be able to push back my slice that I mentioned earlier, that word 1 of I. List word 1 of I. Result dot append word 2 of I. Oops. And then we should be able to say return. I was almost thinking I need to do a space, but we don't need to do a space because we want all of it together, and we should be able to join it back with the result. Oops. List word 2. Oops. That's right. I. That's an index. Sorry, do you mean, when I reference I mentioned pointers, correct? That, I see. Okay, I stands for index. I've always wondered why people kept calling it I and but why people kept calling it J. I was like a strange stop in the alphabet there. So that wouldn't make sense. I stands for index. Thank you. Thank you for letting me know about that. Did I spell it wrong? List word 1. List. That is my fault by saying that I want to add eyes to everything. Okay. Okay. So, list. Okay. They're all the same. Perfect. Okay. Oh yes, I forgot to slice. Yeah, I like. That's what I've heard. I and J are definitely lol. Yeah, I've been curious as to why J. I was told that it's J because J is the next. J is the character after I in the alphabet. That's why J got nominated. I have I. That's my fault. I forgot to slice right here. Did I not join? Dot join. Sequence item of 6. Expected string instance. List found. Oh, that's right. Okay, so I have to turn. Wait. Uh. Okay, so it found a list instead. So return the string dot join. I thought that dot join could take in that list. Isn't that what the dot join does? Return and then Did I use dot join wrong? I'm trying to say the string, I want you to join the list back together. I expected string instance, the list is found. Sequence item of 6. Expected a string instance. I don't think I need to do a string. I almost was thinking I need to do this, but that wouldn't make sense. Yeah. Let's go ahead and print out what we got for result. Print result. Interesting. Okay, so I got a couple of spaces. That's what I was thinking. I was like, hey, join is a list method, but also I've noticed that it created additional lists. Okay, so where in my code would these 2 additional lists be come from? It isn't. I thought join was a list method. And then it converts it into a string with the string dot join. Okay, yeah, I'm trying to understand why these 2 result lists popped up here, which it shouldn't have. Okay, so maybe it's the way that I typed. While I is less than length and I is less than the length of word 2, we're gonna add in the first character, we'll add in the second character. Yeah, join us in the Python journey as we continue to learn Python with data structures. So, yeah, and algorithms, of course. And then, so our first round, we're gonna add A and P, which is correct. And then we're gonna say, hey, let's go ahead and increment. I will keep going, so it goes and adds another. Oh, I see. Print before. Print result before. Before line 59. So that I can make sure I can differentiate this result from that result. Okay, so before it starts out as an empty array. Thank you for the encouragement there. Yeah, we definitely got this. Okay, so we know that before we enter the while loop, we have an empty list, and we're going to go ahead and enter it in. So we're going to go ahead and add in the first character, second character. We're going to increment I, so B, Q, and then we're going to increment I again. Then we're going to increment C, R, and then we push I. And then we push I again. 59. Oh, sorry. I thought that my fault. I don't know why I was thinking line 54. This is, let's go and print here. Before we do line 59. Okay, so A, B, okay, so line 59, this part right here is printing it out correctly. And then afterwards, so after line 59, it's correctly doing what I want it to do. Then that extra result comes in. Append. Okay, so list word is a list, and I don't want it to be a list. And I think the reason why the empty list is occurring is due to the fact that this data structure is in a list. Because prior to that, it wasn't doing that here because it was actually a string. And slicing, do I want it? I don't think it's a slicing that's wrong. I think I need to go ahead. I see. Okay. Multiple loops. And just to make sure, multiple loops wouldn't involve any if check, right? So when you say multiple loops, I would think of another while loop. Is that what you're thinking? Oops, did I? Okay, just to make sure, I just moved the print. Okay, so print. So alternating is fine. It's doing exactly what we indicated it to be, and then. I don't think I ever used extend before. Extend, will that only grab the end of a list? Okay, so an extend takes an interval. Multiple loop, no if check, no. Okay, so when you say multiple loops, there's no if checks, there's no nesting. Yes, because extend does seem like if I may say, a good cheating method. No, but which is like what it's supposed to do, a good method that it's supposed to do to grab the end of it. But if I was to use a multiple loop to grab the end, no if check, no nesting. So while I still less than the. Okay, so we know alternating is perfect. It's doing what it's supposed to do. And I need to do another loop. Another loop. Can I get another hint of whether it'll be a while loop or a for loop? I was thinking of doing another while loop, but I don't think it would make sense to do another while loop, because if I'm going to do a while loop, what is my condition? Am I going to say while the I has not reached the end of the max string. Yes, sorry. I meant to say, yeah, a good shorthand alternative. But yeah, I I like the shorthand alternative. Another thing that does help me is to understand what's actually happening under the hood with that too. So I think being able to implement this with the loop will help me understand what's happening under the hood as well. So yeah. A for loop. Okay. Um, if I was to use a for loop, I would say, okay, so this already handles the alternating for the most part. What I would want my for loop to handle is to grab the rest of the extra characters. That's what I would want my for loop. For loop to grab the extra characters. To grab the remaining characters to say. So I would use a for loop to grab the remaining characters. To grab the remaining characters. Yes, a range function is range takes in a start, stop, and a step. So the way I would think about grabbing the remaining characters is to go ahead and iterate through the longest string. Would that make sense? To grab the longest string for I in range. So I want to start. I want to start at wherever I stopped. Where I want to start wherever I stopped from up here. But how do I tell it which string to go ahead and iterate through? I in range. I was thinking to go through the longest string, max string, and the max function in Python will only return back to me an integer, and word one, or the length of word two. So it's gonna go ahead and iterate through the longest string. I wanted to result that append. I wanted to keep adding the rest of the strings to the end of that array, to the end of that list. And to do that, the one thing that I struggle here is to say word one of I, but I can't necessarily pinpoint word one of I, because it could be word two. So, how can I narrow down to which specific string that is? Yeah, gotta love LeetCode for that, right? Oops. I want to just know, curious to see what this will turn out. Don't use max, just worry about word one first. Okay. Okay. So range will iterate through word one. And because range is looking for integers, and I won't be able to pass in. Sorry. Okay, yeah, just to make sure. Yeah, range is a function that only takes in integers. So that's why I did the length of the word one, because it doesn't make sense to pass in a string of a word one, which is the ABC, which that's not what I want to do. But doing that, let's see. So A, P, B, Q, C, R, and you went back. C, R, okay. I want to see what's doing here too. A P B Q, and it went back to A, went to B, never went all the way to R S. Okay. And the reason why AB was added again is because I told it to keep going and adding on to from the word. I'm told it to keep adding the characters from the word one. But I wanted to add it from the word two. Couldn't I have start, stop, step? That's what the arguments of a range takes. Yeah, range should take start, stop, is exclusive, then a step. This is inclusive. A, B, P, Q, A, B, C, D. A, B, C, D. Okay. Okay, so I wanted to start. I definitely wanted to stop at the end of the string. So to specify the start of it wouldn't we're just gonna focus on word one right now. If we're gonna focus on word one right now, the English word I in range, I from right here knows where I last stop. But what tricks me up right now is this list word one was a list. I was going to say, let's go ahead and start where list word one of I is. But I don't think you can add a list like that. That would grab the value, and that wouldn't grab the index. So I should have stopped at that specific index, and then we're going to say that you're going to start at wherever I ended off at this while loop, and we're going to keep going until the end of the string, and we're going to increment by 1. But I don't think that we're going to add this step. I was almost going to say I don't think this step is necessary, but I think it is. So yeah. Something is happening. Okay, so A, B, C, D, P, Q. A, B, C, D, P, Q. So, okay, but wait. Case 2. Okay, so hello, welcome. We are solving this problem. Okay, so no, I think that worked for case 3. Because that does make sense why I work for case 3. Because I anticipate A, P, B, Q, C, D. Hi, hello, welcome. We are all doing this lead code, and we're doing this via a list. So right now, I am able to generate it through using word 1 for this. But I want to make it more dynamic that it could be word 2 as to why this didn't work out, because we were still just iterating over word 1. Of course, please let me know. I love to hear any thoughts, inputs you guys have. Let's rename the oh yes, of course. J, and J. Okay, so the difference, okay, so I'm trying to pay attention to looking at the difference here. So I'm trying to look at any similarities that example 2 and example 3 might have. The similarities that I see here is that the words that we are looking at are the longest one. So they are the longest one. So therefore, that's why I would feel comfortable to say, yeah, definitely. Yes, that means I'm on the right path, considering the longest one. Yes, you renamed something you shouldn't have. Was it the J that I renamed? Let me undo. I think all I did was rename. Sorry, is that what you meant? Let's rename the I to J on 62. So if I rename... Oh, you're right. I need to keep the I, because the I is coming from up here. Thank you for catching that. But, this one should be a J, though, because J is going to pick up wherever I has left off on. So I feel comfortable with that. So feel free to let me know if you think it should be different. But, max length of word 2. Just to make sure there's not too many parentheses, because sometimes I add a lot of parentheses. So that's the similarities that I've seen. Hi Chris, welcome. So, okay, so max of that. So we're paying attention to the max. But now, I don't think there's any harm, because in my mind, I think I need to do another if check. But one thing I've learned from doing the other code earlier is that I don't need to do an if check. I can just add here, and it should be able to handle both cases for me. Out of range. Oh, okay, so that's a good question. I think I'd be flexible. C style for performance. Yeah, because under the hood, I know that under the hood, Python is uses C++. And let's see. Okay, sorry. So my string index is out of range. And as you were saying earlier, you're gonna disagree with going over the longest string. Because the only reason why I was thinking of going with the longest string... Okay, so word 1 of J, because let me just make sure, because if I do this... Oh, I'm sorry, C, okay. Thank you for correcting me. I thought it was C++. Thank you for correcting me. My string index is out of range. Let me bring it back. Okay. Let's see. Okay, my string index is out of range. Did I start at a bad place? Because I just want to make sure, based off what we stated earlier, word 2. So this one should allow case 2 to pass. So yeah, A, P, B, Q, R, S. Okay. Because my mind, the reason why case 2 passes is, as you can see, we are iterating through the longest string that's available. And that's why I thought it was okay to go ahead and iterate through the longest string. And here, disagree with iterating over the longest string. I'm trying to look at like patterns and understand what is happening. Because okay, so instead of thinking about the longest string, what if we did it with the shortest string, the min? But then wouldn't the for loop just go up to whatever amount the minimum string has? Therefore, it doesn't capture the rest of the string. So then wouldn't the for loop stop? And it doesn't add in the extra characters. So that's why I was thinking we'll do the max of that string. Unless we do, okay, we're gonna iterate up. Oh my goodness, no, I try my best. Okay, so max is good. So does that mean, oh no, in America, yeah, so maybe I need to do an if check. For j in range, starting at the index of I, which is provided from a while loop above, we're going to iterate through the max of whatever the longest string is. Then we're going to increment by 1. And we're going to increment by 1. And when we increment by 1, when we increment by 1, okay, so there's no if checks needed, there's no, oh really? Okay, I'm trying to get in your shoe, and we're not gonna use the max length for I in range. I'm just trying to understand where, I don't think I would, because I'm trying to understand, okay, so let me cancel out my max length of word 1. So going with what we said earlier, we're gonna go ahead and do it like this. Yeah, okay, so in my mind, this handles what this one loop right here in line 62, 63. This will handle the word 1. If there are any leftover in word 1 that we need to add. That's what my mind is thinking right here. So then I need to do another for loop for the second word. Length word 2 of 1. Then we're gonna say that you're gonna add in everything from here, and I want to go ahead and print the result. So this should capture everything in word 1. This should capture everything for word 2. And that means my case 1, case 2, case 3 should work, because I have solved it that way. A, P, B, Q, C, R, perfect. A, P, B, Q, R, S. A, B, okay, so yeah, okay, so it is doing what we intended. But now, will my return.join work? My return, But moment of truth, will this be faster than our string? As you recall earlier, it was at the far right of the time. Oh, we got way better because I don't know if you remember earlier, but we're at the far right and now we're at here. So I see. Okay. Try comparing with the slicing solution. Yes. Okay. So comparing it with the slicing solution. Would you like me to talk about the similarities and differences that I see from both? Just go for the time complexity. Yeah, okay, so as we mentioned earlier, time complexity, using a list is different than the time complexity of using a string. So this one, since feel free to let me know what your thoughts are, but the fact I'm still gonna go my time how I analyze this time complexity is that since we are dealing with two uneven strings, it will still be O of n plus m. And I do agree that space-wise, it's gonna be O of n because we're creating that list underneath the hood, and that list will grow for every characters that we add into it. And then I still think that time complexity is O of n plus m because we're dealing with two uneven strings. So n will be for word 1, m is for word 2. Oh, I did hear about zip, but I haven't used it enough because I know about enumerate, zip. I feel like there's more. One more. So yes. So enumerate allows you to use both the index and the values. Range, you can only use the index position. So yeah, learning a little bit along the way as I've been doing this. Feel free to let me know what you think about your time analysis are. So I still want to say, oh, really? O of n? Because I thought it would be n plus m because we are dealing with. Yes, I would still love to see a solution with zip. I would have assumed that time would have been n plus m because we're dealing with two uneven strings. So since you're dealing with two different strings, it would be n plus m. I have to go back and look at it, the time complexity then. Some reason I read that it was n plus m. I could be wrong too. So, yeah. And then looking at my solution, I wonder, let me as in like you're gonna paste a link in it. I think that should be okay. I'm not too familiar with it, but okay. So I want to go ahead and show line side by side. Okay. It starts right here. Okay, so I want to go ahead and show side by side. On the left, we have our list solution that we just did, and on the right, we have our string solution that we did a little bit earlier as well. One thing, okay, so they still do a while loop, and we still use one pointer for both. But where they do differ is just, where they do differ is this one will have to iterate through the out. Well, do they really differ there? Because word 1, you're slicing through it, so you're still in my mind, you are still iterating over through word 1 like that, and we are starting at the index of I wherever I left off, and we're still going through the end here as well. We're going all the way to the end of the list of the word by 1 as well. So in a way, this is still slicing. In my mind, in a way, it's still slicing without slicing, because you're still iterating through the range, starting at position I, going all the way to the length of the word um, there's the word. Because slicing, you're grabbing the whole entire section, right? Or underneath the hood. Underneath the hood, you're not going one by one, correct? In my mind, you're not. And here you can see that we're doing the same thing as well. And this is similar to this as well. And since it's already in a string format that we're working in a string, we can just return it. But since we're working in a list, we need to join it back into a string format. So, yeah. But overall, a list is a little bit easier to correct me if I'm wrong, but I heard list is a little bit easier to work with because at least you can append and add to the end of the list. If you add to the end of the list, it's a constant time versus a string. Like you guys stated earlier, strings are immutable in Python. So, yeah. Oh, okay. So what you're doing here, you're doing a list comprehension. So you're doing a list comprehension and you're going to say that for every character in the, you're going to zip the word 1, word 2 together for every character in the pair. Then you're going to find the minimum length of each. And then you'll add at the end of this list the minimum length. So essentially what this is going to do is you're going to add the word 1 min length. So this one is going to add any of the remaining characters. That's my understanding of that code statement right there. That's what you're doing. Because you're going to hear, it seems like you're adding, this is where you're alternating every character into the string, but you're adding it in the list. So you're alternating here for every character from word 1, word 2. Then you're going to grab the smallest one, and then you'll add in the rest of the remaining words depending on whether they're the length. Yeah, you'll add in the rest of the character from the word 1 if it's greater than the word 2, else grab everything else from word 2 and add it to the string. I see. Is this more a Pythonic way? Where should they use the extend, by the way? I'd love to know. He can also just add both, right? Only if one of them is not empty. Oh, that's a good edge case. Let's see. Yeah, great stuff. Yeah, definitely. Which one would you prefer to see? So this is the one with the list. Did you want to see the one with the list, or did you want to see the one with these strings? Oh, I'm not sure about that. Okay. Yeah, if you like to see the string solution as well. Yeah, That's what it is. It's O of n squared. Yes, because I know that with strings being immutable, you are creating a new string every time. Yes. So versus a list, you can actually add it to the end. So O of n squared. So actually the worst case, when we talk about time complexity, we're going to talk about worst case scenario, and overall O of n squared would be the worst case. So in this solution, correct? I thought, I could be wrong too, because I thought space complexity depends on what was created in the code. Feel free to correct me, yeah. So, I could remove the casting string to list. The casting string to list. Similar to what we did. Oh, I see. Do you guys do the contest weekly? I've been meaning to join one, but I'm not sure how intense it might be. And the last approach. Could remove the casting the string to list. Casting here. Is this what you mean? Oh, that's pretty cool. Yeah, I was just talking earlier that I've been wanting to do one, and also hopefully that I can get some leak code points. I didn't know you can actually like get leak code gear from doing it. So yeah. Already? I think it might be too late for me to sign up, but I would love to. But yeah, I don't know if you stream yours, doing yours. I mean, I know you can't share your code, but I think you can definitely share your thought process, I believe, and you trying to solve it. But yeah, I think that'd be kind of cool to watch. Oh yes, I think a 1 point daily. So it's gonna take me a long time before I be able to get any gear. So yes, test case. Oh, I see. I did not know that. Can you scrub in test case? Do you get a runtime of 0 seconds? I got a runtime of 48 milliseconds. That is pretty cool. Top 50? That is pretty cool. I'll have to check it out sometimes if you do stream, so of course. But yeah. Okay, after the con. Totally understandable as to why after the contest. Understandable. But yeah. Fun. Yeah, one thing I picked up from streaming today is to definitely keep working on more projects as well. So I'll have to stop over sometime, Chris, and check it out too. So I'm hoping to get back into building more project as well. Really, I can. Okay, let me. You can. I did not know that. Okay. Yeah, I'm planning to get dinner in a bit. Maybe I'll gear up for it, check it out, and try to do it. But yeah, I really would like to do it one day. I think that'd be kind of cool. So Thank you for letting me know. All right. Yeah, with that being said, I'm gonna go ahead. Thank you for like helping me out tonight. I hope to do some more streaming some projects. So yeah. Yes. I hear you. I see you. I will definitely do that. I'll definitely do a lot more projects. So it doesn't matter if it's personal projects or open source projects. Is there a particular preference that you would definitely look into? Bonus prizes? Okay, so I started contest ranked first to third. Okay, one user submitting with multiple. Okay, well, sorry. These are violations, so definitely won't be doing those. Contributing. Okay. Yeah, I will have to share with you, Chris. I'll send it to you on X, so my GitHub and stuff. So yeah. Okay. Oh yeah, sounds good. Yeah, I've been working on a project. Just yeah. I've been when I think about like personal projects that I'm working on, I'm definitely looking at ways to either one automate my life, problems in my life, or problems that I see. I'm trying to do some work and do something about that with my capabilities. So hopefully do something there. Elixir, fun. Oh, okay. Don't do leak code in Elixir. Noted. Noted. So speed run Twitch streamers projects. Yeah, what's the coolest project that you have seen so far? I definitely want to check out more other streamers who are working on projects as well for inspiration, motivation, ideas, and just to be able to bounce ideas off of other people as well. What's the coolest projects you guys have seen so far? Yeah, we'll definitely have to check it out, Chris. I'll let you know. Yeah, because I'm working on some of my project as well, too, so. Okay, contest will start, sponsor, bonus prizes. If you guys see me one day with a backpack, you know why. You know why. If it happens. But if you see me with a Elite Code backpack, you know what happened. One day though. One day. Yeah. Okay. Users must register. I'm so nervous about these Elite Code contests because you never know what you're gonna get. So that's what I'm afraid about. It's almost like a technical interview when you step into it. You know you're getting coded or you're getting graded on some kind of algorithm, but you don't know which algorithm or which data structure you're going to be facing. So, oh, you're right. It is all about practice and dedication. You're right. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Okay, so with that being said, I'll come back. I'll be streaming again. I'll be working on projects. So, yeah. Otherwise than that, I'm gonna get some dinner. Then I'll finally do this. So, yeah, we'll talk soon.